Welcome to the Energy Medicine and Healing Summit, where you'll discover how to take your health into your own hands from today's top energy medicine experts and healers. Share this powerful event with your friends and family, and join in our conversation on Facebook at The Shift Network. And now your host, Don D. Dolan.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. In this session, we are with Holly C. Holly is a speaker and an author, and she's the founder of Chinese Reflexology.com, the premier website on the internet for foot reflexology. She also has a podcast which reaches over 100 countries. Hello, Holly.
Hi, Dondi. It's so great to be here with you.
Thank you. We are so happy you're here, and I want to get right into foot reflexology. We'll talk a lot about the eyes today, but first, tell us exactly how foot reflexology works.
Sure. So foot reflexology is the ancient healing art of massaging your feet to stimulate different areas of your body. The way it works is that there are points on your feet that correlate to different parts of your body. So the style that I practice is Chinese reflexology. So it not only correlates to different parts of your body, but it also correlates to different organs and energy meridians. So the idea is that your body is comprised of all these energy meridians running through your body, just like you have a circulatory system for blood, you have a circulatory system for energy. And these energy pathways, they flow down through your feet. So when you massage a point, then you're helping to stimulate the flow of energy, help clear energy blocks, help send energy, or qi, as it's referred to in Chinese medicine, send healing qi to different areas of your body. And that's how foot reflexology works.
Wonderful. So if we touch or massage a point on our feet, let's say it's for kidney, we don't actually have to go to the kidney to massage it. We can hit that point on the foot and it meets the kidney like through a river, which is what you called meridian, which we call meridians. And it's like a river up to the kidneys. Is that kind of the picture that we're getting for reflexology?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it'll refer to a different part of your body when you massage different areas on your feet.
Excellent. So today we're going to talk a lot about the eyes. And in your 30s, you were diagnosed, correct me if I'm wrong, with macular degeneration, or at least the beginnings of it. What is macular degeneration? And tell us how you healed it, because a lot of doctors say that it's incurable. So how did you heal your macular degeneration?
Sure. So just to clarify, I was diagnosed with early stage macular degeneration, and I was in my 30s, and this is usually something that affects people when they're older, but I was quite young to have this diagnosis. And the way I healed myself was a journey, and that's why I wanted to talk about in this presentation about it's not like just healing with the reflexology with your souls, the SOLES, but also healing through your soul, SOUL, because there's such a connection between your vision and also following your soul's calling. So at the time when I was diagnosed, I was working in high tech. And quite frankly, I hated it. I couldn't stand looking at my computer every single day. And what macular degeneration is where you lose like that central part of the focus of your vision, and it starts to gradually deteriorate over time. And there's no known cure according to Western medicine. So you can see, if you start to extrapolate and see how I was sitting there looking at a computer all day, and in my mind, I kept thinking, I can't stand looking at the screen. I hate what I'm looking at. That was my thought constantly throughout the day, every hour of the day, sitting there at my office chair, thinking that, looking at my computer. So what happens then is your body is very responsive to your thoughts and feelings. And over time, so how this works through the energy, through the qi, is anywhere that you are having thoughts like this, like I hate this, I hate seeing this, then it's affecting the flow of energy through the eyes. Another example would be like, let's say you have like a bad knee or something like that, and you're always going, oh, this knee is terrible. This knee always, bums out and it's no good. I can't do this. I can't do that. So you're thinking about that body part. And what's happening though at an energy level is it's affecting the flow of qi through that area. And so because the qi is not flowing as smoothly as it should, like the qi has to flow abundantly and smoothly in order to keep the body in balance. So when it doesn't do that, what happens is over time, as there are other imbalances in your body, you can imagine if I was so stressed at work and hating it, there was a lot going on. I wasn't at optimal health because I was so stressed all the time. But all of that concentration of negativity, so much of it was in my head, in my eyes, and that prevented the flow of the qi to my eyes, the proper flow, which affects the flow of blood because qi helps to propel blood. They're like yin and yang in Chinese medicine. One supports the other and vice versa. And so that then manifested as those physical symptoms because if things aren't flowing as they should, then you can imagine like the eyes aren't getting the nourishment they need. There can be like toxins building up and not being cleared as efficiently. And that's what was happening. And I was diagnosed with early stage macular degeneration. And I had a history of sticking it out in crappy jobs. Like many years I would get sick, and then because the job was making me sick, then I'd quit for a little while, get better, and then I'd go back to the job. So it made totally no sense, but it was kind of like, my upbringing. I just felt compelled to work in an office, compelled to do the right thing, work at a good job. I was working in high tech. A lot of people would have thought, well, in my mind's eye, they think that I have like a great job. So how come I'm not liking it? I made myself stick with it. And so it wasn't until I had the problems with my eyes that I seriously thought about walking away for good this time. Like before, I would kind of walk away, come back, walk away, come back. And I kept repeating that pattern. And finally, I was like, these are my eyes. I need to walk away. Now, at the time, I did already know Chinese reflexology, but because my job was so stressful, what happened was I kind of just over time forgot to massage my own feet regularly. And so that's how, it starts off, you're doing well. And then that's like a whole other story, like where I had some health issues from working in high tech again, quit, discovered Chinese reflexology and healed myself. But this time I was like, okay, this is it. I can't do this anymore because it's affecting my vision. These are my eyes. They are so precious. You only get one set of eyes. So I need to leave this job now. And then that's what I did. And of course I was like, what do I do? Right? Floundering around a bit. But I was also pregnant at the time. So I kind of used that as, the excuse to leave. But really, I just wanted to get out of there. And I had this epiphany where it was like, you know what? I'm always listening to my head. So at the time too, I started studying Chinese medicine, and I was partly listening to my heart there, partly listening to my head, being kind of practical. Well, hey, I could study this. I could, after 4 years, become a licensed acupuncturist. There's a clear path for me to follow. But then I kind of realized, like with a new baby, I didn't have that much time. Anybody who's a mom, you have new mom, you have no time. And so I was like, do I really want to be studying the Chinese medicine? I finished 2 years of this master's program, but really, if I want to be honest with myself, I just wanted to learn the theory and understand how it works with Chinese reflexology so that I can understand what is it, I'm pressing on this point, how does that connect to my kidney? And I learned all that stuff. I wasn't so interested in, putting needles in people or prescribing herbs. And so I made the decision to walk away from that too. And then I felt this lightness, and the epiphany was, why don't I try listening to my heart instead of my head? And so I made this vow to myself, instead of me thinking everything, when I get this feeling in my heart that that's the direction I'm supposed to go, I'm just going to follow it. And that is what I did. And that's what has led me here, speaking on this telesummit with the Shift Network and, speaking with you about it, is that I started following my soul's calling. And by doing that too, that led the path for me to heal my eyes. So there was, when I was looking after my son, when he was a baby, just sitting on the floor with him, he's like crawling around. I'm like, oh, wait, why don't I start massaging my feet again? And I was like, oh, I seem to remember like I could massage my eye points. I remember when I first learned Chinese Reflexology and asking if it could help with, eyesight, and the Chinese reflexologist, the TCM doctor, saying yes, but you have to do it regularly. And of course, I, never kept up with that particular routine for my eyes. But I thought, why don't I do it now? I'm sitting on the floor with my baby, and so I started to massage my eye points regularly, which I'm going to show people watching this video how to do that. And over time, I was massaging the points, and when I finally scheduled an eye appointment because I needed a new pair of glasses, I went there, and the doctor did not say a thing about the early stage macular degeneration. And I remember looking at his notes, and they're all kind of messy, like chicken scratch, scrawled all over. And I thought, do I say something or not? Because if I say something, then that means he was incorrect in his diagnosis. And that's going to be hard for somebody to accept, like their medical diagnosis was incorrect. So he's either going to say he made a wrong diagnosis, not going to happen, or he's going to look for that problem in my eyes. So I was like, keep my mouth shut. And a little bit later, I was like, you know what? I want to just be sure. I went and scheduled an appointment with another optometrist, and I said, I had this diagnosis. Can you please thoroughly check my eyes? And he did. He said, I see no sign of this disease. Your eyes are perfectly healthy. And so that was my journey on doing that. And it's not just about massaging your reflexology points. That's why I wanted to put the emphasis on soul, S-O-U-L, because how you see is a reflection of what you see in your life and how you see yourself. So when people, for example, when people are in their middle age and they're kind of, how they say people have like a midlife crisis, that's also around the time that a lot of people start needing glasses. Now, there's that connection there because they're assessing their life and maybe they're not liking where they are. It's not where they saw themselves, like where they were going to be like 20 years ago. They had a different vision for themselves. And then, life just happened and things kind of caught up to them and it's not what they want to see. So when you don't want to see something, you're sending that signal up to your brain, up to your eyes and saying, I don't want to see, I don't want to see, or I'm not liking what I see. So people may find themselves like I was trapped in a job going, okay, I don't want to see myself here. Or they may be in a relationship that they don't want to be in that is like, very hurtful to them and they don't want to see that. And not only not seeing like the quote unquote bad things, but it's your own brilliance that we often hide away from. So in order for me, for example, to step up and be speaking here, to write a book, to, publish articles on my website, to start a podcast, I had to examine myself. Like I had to go deep into my own vulnerabilities. And every time I'm doing something like this, it's like a practice session of exploring your own vulnerabilities, but also seeing your own brilliance. So when you hide away from that, it's easy to go, okay, I'll just keep going at my kind of mediocre. It's a comfortable life. I can't say there's anything terrible about it, but you're feeling that energy inside you that's saying, like calling you that there's more you can do. You're feeling this draw, this energy saying, hey, what is it that you want to do? And you want to change the world. But if you hold yourself back from that, then it's going to affect the flow of chi in your body because you have to go with the flow in order for the chi to flow. And that's why, following your soul's calling makes such a difference in not just your health and vitality. That also, translates to your eyes because when you're doing that, then you like what you're seeing and you're seeing your own brilliance. And when you see your own brilliance, you also, paradoxically, you see your own flaws, but you don't see that as like a judgment of yourself. Well, you make that, acknowledgement. Okay, I don't like, just before this video, I was like patting down my hair because it was kind of sticking up. And it's like, okay, I have very straight, fine hair, but that's my hair. It's like no point beating myself up about it. It's just a part of who I am. So we need to, appreciate all that potential within ourselves, and also appreciate all these quote unquote flaws, and appreciate how they all make up this mosaic of who we are. And when we do that, it's like you open up yourself to seeing your world differently. That's like the most important thing in order to improve your vision, because when you're seeing things differently, it's almost like, it's like your life is like a macrocosm for your body. So what is reflected in your body is a reflection of what's going on in your life. If you are expanding your life and you're liking what you're seeing, your body is going to hear those messages, and then it will start to help, assist with getting that flow back into your eyes, because you don't have that negativity all that time, every time you're thinking like, I don't like seeing this, or I don't want to see this in my life, I'm not happy about this. Instead, you're like, oh my gosh, I love this, and I love what I'm seeing. Oh my gosh, my life is so great. And that gets the chi flowing. Like, even as I'm talking, for those watching who are sensitive to energy, you will notice how when I start talking about, oh, I don't like this, it's like the energy goes flat. And then when I'm saying, I love this, I love this about my life, I love that I'm helping people heal themselves with Chinese reflexology, I love sharing this information with people, I love inspiring people to express their own brilliance, notice the energy shifts. And the same thing happens with every single person. And that's how you can heal your vision. One other thing I wanted to mention too is, when you start on this journey, like, you think, okay, well, why doesn't everybody just do this to heal their eyesight? There's so many people wearing glasses. I mean, it's so simple, right? You have to face all of your fears. You have to face all of your vulnerabilities. I see a lot of people who wear glasses have like a sense of, they want to do everything perfect, or they want to do everything themselves, or there's like this need to try to control things. And it doesn't mean like you're trying to control other people. It may show up in other ways of your life. Maybe you're like you super schedule everything, or you plan everything out in advance. You need to know, when you're going on vacation, you have this whole itinerary all mapped up. That's just a different way for control to manifest. And when you're healing your vision, though, you gotta let go of the control. And it's scary. It's a scary ride. But that's what then will lead you to those things that will help expand your life and expand and improve your vision.
Holly, a lot of what you're talking about in this session is what many of our speakers have talked about on the summit, and that is the connection between our thoughts and our reality. And I love that you're talking about this. It's so important for us to remember that our brain does not know the difference between what we're thinking and what reality is. So why not think amazing thoughts about our life? So our brain will deem that to be true. So thank you for that. How about you show us some of the points on the feet that help with the eyes, and also talk to us, because it is so important, about the soul. And I know you work a lot with the soul's calling and a person's soul's calling. So we're talking about the soul today, SOLE, and the soul, SOUL. If you'll talk about that to us.
Sure. So I have, this is my plastic foot. Let me make sure it's in the camera. So I can demonstrate to you how to locate and massage the eye point. Now I want to emphasize, like, just massaging this point alone, it's going to be helpful, because when you start massaging the point, it helps send the chi to the area, which helps improve the blood flow, which, sends oxygen and helps, clear away toxins. But in Chinese medicine, it's different than the Western approach, where it's not like, you got a problem with your eyes, just look at the eyes. Chinese medicine is about looking at the whole body. So there are, different energy meridians and organs that support the eyes. And then people will want to know, well, which one? But they're all interconnected. You can't just say, okay, I'm just going to focus on this one organ. Everything is all interconnected. But massaging this eye point, though, can be really helpful. And it's really, really good, too, for especially for acute things. So, if you get like a pink eye, or somebody has like, I don't know, like an eye injury. So I'm not saying just do this and don't go to the doctor. Go to the doctor. But then after you go to the doctor, you can massage this point to help support the healing process. So the eye point, let me get this in my camera here, is going to be on the sole side of the foot, and it's going to be under the 2 toes next to the big toe. So it'll be the second toe and the third toe. And it's going to be underneath those toe pads, and also include a little bit of the space underneath the toes. So you can think of it like a U. And that's the whole area that you're going to massage. And then also while you're massaging, kind of pay attention to like the inside edges of those toes, like between the toes and on the sides there too. And the way you're going to massage this point, so you can just pull up your foot and take your thumb. Sorry, everything's a little bit reversed here, but you want to support your foot with your other hand too, because otherwise you're just pressing and your foot might be flopping around in the air. So you're going to support your foot with the other hand. You're going to press in, and then you're just going to massage up and down using your thumb pad. And you can do that for, make sure I've got that right. So those 2 toes, and then also down in that U part, and you want to massage up and down, and you could do that for about 30 seconds. That's a good amount to massage. And I would recommend, say, you could do that using your thumb for 30 seconds on the left foot and the right foot, and do that, say, like 2 times a week, maximum 3 times a week, because it's important. Sometimes people ask me, can you get too much reflexology? Yes, you can. People can over massage points and, cause, like when it's sending that chi and blood flowing there, it can, dislodge long-held toxins, and you don't want to be detoxing at a rate faster than your body can handle. That's why it's so important to support all the other organs and meridians, to strengthen those first. And the other thing too is like just plain old, like you don't want to irritate the skin on your feet. And if you massage too much, you can cause a callus to build up, and then it makes it harder to actually reach in and get to the point. So just 30 seconds massaging with your thumb up and down. So up is towards the top of the toes and down is towards the heel, and then just massaging in this area. The other thing I want to mention too is that when you're massaging, you want to don't just use your thumb, because that's going to be really tiring. Try to lean in more with your body weight as you're massaging. And if the point is really sensitive, that's indicative of like if there's like an energy block, or there could be something physically going on. So like for me, my eye points are still a little bit sensitive because I'm still wearing glasses, and I actually spend probably a little bit too much time on the computer than I should, because, I blog, I podcast, and I teach online courses. But when you start to see improvement in the energy flow, and there's improvement in the physical body too, then the points will start to feel less sensitive. And it doesn't like happen in one session. It doesn't happen in a week. Like the longer you've had something. So like wearing glasses since I was 11, that's decades. So it's going to take longer for that to shift and clear, versus somebody who say, just got like pink eye. That's something they might have for 2 or 3 days, in which case it's going to be super, super sensitive. But once the pink eye clears, then it's not going to be as sensitive. So you can massage your point now and just press at a pressure that the sensitivity is tolerable. So you don't want to be keeling over in pain from it or overdoing it, but you do want to feel it. And that actually brings me to another thing I want to mention too, is that I notice some people, they have this desire to, like, they learn the reflexology, they learn about it, they're super excited, and then they want to quote unquote, fix themselves as quickly as possible, and recognize too that that is a way of thinking that is counterproductive to balance, because the way to restore balance in your body is to have a balanced approach. Both, not just the body, but also the mind and the emotions as well. So if you're noticing you're tempted to, go, okay, 30 seconds is good, 60 seconds must be twice as good. Hold off on that compulsion and recognize that it's this compulsion that is actually contributing also, and to look at ways to kind of learn, as I mentioned before, to kind of let go of the perfectionism and to let go of the need for control.
Thank you for that and sharing those points with us in that little area. As you said, like a U under the second and third toe. And
Right.
will that help us, just so people get an idea of what they might expect? Will that help us with clearer vision? Will that help us with eye fatigue? Will that help in a preventative way? Can you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, it is good for maintenance to keep the qi and blood flowing. What's more important is to get to the underlying root of why the qi and blood is not flowing through there. In terms of clearer vision, I wouldn't say that's going to happen right away because, as I said before, there are all these, it's not just the eyes, it's the whole body. So you need to start strengthening and balancing the whole body to support the eyes. The eyes are just, like if there are eye problems in Chinese medicine, it's not like the eye problem is the problem. The eye problems are actually the symptom of something else out of balance within the primary organs and meridians, and you have to address both. But however, in the example I gave of pink eye, when there isn't imbalance contributing to that, or it's just something acute like a short eye infection, or like you got some dust in your eye or some bit of sand and is irritating the eye, or like your eyes are fatigued, and then massaging that point, taking a break from what's causing the fatigue and massaging that point will send qi and blood. So it's kind of like, when you're all cramped up, like say in an airplane, and then you get up and stretch and then you feel so much better. So it is beneficial that way. So for acute things, it's probably pretty good. Well, not just probably, it is pretty good. But for more chronic things that you've had a long time, it's not going to be, the instant fix. On the other hand, if you are not massaging the point consistently, then you're not, helping to rebalance the qi and blood flow. And then, basically whatever trajectory you're on with your vision, it's going to continue that way. So starting to massage, even just the twice a week, at maximum 3 times a week for 30 seconds, it is going to be beneficial because it is helping to, send that qi and blood to that area where before it may have been blocked, like it was in my case when I was working in high tech and thinking all those negative thoughts. So the other thing too is, how like energy can affect the body, and just, I'm sure all the speakers in the summit have been talking about that. When you are massaging your foot, so emotions are related to the energy. So your emotions affect the energy, and then that affects the body. You can kind of work the other way too, where when you start massaging these points, sometimes I've had students who, by massaging certain points, it starts to clear that energy in that area. And then some of those emotions actually start to clear too. They come up to the surface if they've been buried below. So it's kind of like the reverse way, where the massage is affecting the energy, which is then affecting the emotion and helping to clear that. So it's amazing how, everything is so circular, like a yin yang, the mind and the body, the yin, the yang, and how they support each other.
Thank you. We have just a few minutes left, and I'd like to come back to Soul, S-O-U-L, and how we can get in touch with our soul. I think you also have a short exercise we can do together before we wrap up.
Yep, I have what I call my head to heart exercise. So part of the problem with like following your soul's calling for a lot of people is you're stuck up in your head and you're trying to figure out, well, what is my soul's calling? And you can't come up with it through your head. It's like you kind of have to feel into it. And oftentimes we try and think so much that we get paralyzed with indecision. We don't know what's the voice of our soul versus the voice of our head. So I have this exercise that cuts through all that mind chatter and clutter. So for people watching at home, if you happen to have like a sheet of paper, and like a pen, pencil, marker handy, you can, even start right now. If you don't have that, this is like a super simple exercise. So you can just watch this and then try it at home afterwards. So what you want to do is you're going to take this sheet of paper. You don't have to have a border on it. It just happens to be what I have on my sheet of paper. And then you're going to draw a big circle on it. So I'm just going to do that right now. So you're going to fill up most of the page. And I guess technically if you have a rectangular sheet of paper, you're not going to get a circle. You're going to get some weird egg-shaped oval like I have here. And then what you want to do is you're going to draw a heart in the middle of it. And the heart should be about, I'd say about 1/4 to 1/3 of the size of the circle. So here we go. I have a big heart in a circle. I told you this was super simple. You don't even need art skills. Then what you want to do is you want to take another piece of paper and ask a question. So what is my soul's calling? What can I do right now to follow my soul's calling? Questions like that. And you may have your own question, like put it in your own words, what feels right. Don't think too much about the question too. That's like your head. Just whatever question pops into mind, you write that at the top of the sheet of paper, and then you just start making a list. And list everything. So don't take too long to do it. This is not something you spend 5 days doing. This is something you should spend about 60 seconds doing, 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes maximum. And you list everything. You list everything if there were no constraints. You come up with crazy stuff. You come up with mundane things. There's no judgment. You're just making a list. You just write every single thing that comes to mind. And if nothing comes to mind, well, use your imagination, pretend things and go, okay, I can't think of anything. Let me just list outlandish things and write that down. And then when you come up with a list, so you should have at least 10 items, and there's not really any maximum, but most people usually come up with, say, about 20 items or so. You're going to number the items on the list. You're just going to start and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up until however many items you have on the list. Okay, so then you're going to have a list. I don't have a sample list here, so it's not like the cooking show, where you pull something up from under the table. But you're going to have your list, and then you're going to have this. And then what you're going to do, you're going to put your list down on your desk, or whatever you're writing on, and you can't see it, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to, how many items you've numbered up to. So let's say you had 27. You are going to just start writing numbers down on this sheet of paper. So I'm just going to say, let's pretend I had 8, and I'm just going to quickly write down some numbers. Or let's say I had 9. And then don't think about it. Just write the numbers down. Wherever you feel like putting the numbers down, you put the numbers down. Do it fast. So now, let's see, can I see? Now I have this sheet of paper with a bunch of numbers on it. And here's the really cool thing. This is interpreting what this means. So anything outside of this big circle is like this number 9 here. This is definitely not something your heart and soul want you to do. So it's probably most likely something your head thought you should be doing. Now, anything in the circle, well, also most likely very much your head, but the stuff way out of the circle is like really away from what your heart and soul want you to do. But whatever is inside the heart, that is what your heart and soul want you to do. And a lot of people are so surprised at what shows up when they do this exercise, because it's not necessarily what your mind thinks is the right thing to do, but your heart and soul know where to lead you to. And it may not seem like it leads you to the path that you want to go, but in some way, through not just yourself, but your connection with the universe and your connection with Earth and other people, it will lead you to perhaps something better or to exactly where you want to go, but in the most easy, effortless, and most expansive way possible. And to be quite honest, that is exactly how I started. I was like a full-time mom. I just quit my job. I quit going to TCM school, and I said, okay, I'm going to listen to my heart. And I came up with this exercise myself by listening to my heart. And then I just started following it. And I sometimes would use this, or sometimes I'd, tune in and hear what I hear, but I've always just been following it. And whenever my mind gets too much into the mix, trying to decide, I do this exercise, I follow it, and it always has led me to the right path. And that's why I'm here right now.
Thank you for such a practical and easy exercise, Holly, that I know is very powerful as well. How can people stay in touch with you and get involved with your work?
Okay, sure. There's two ways. So if you're more interested in the soul, Chinese reflexology for health and vitality, I have a website, www.chinesefoot.reflexology.com, and there's all sorts of resources and a free course you can sign up for to learn more about practicing Chinese reflexology and bringing those organs and meridians into balance. Now, in terms of the mind-body connection, connecting with your soul, following your soul's calling, being a world changer, or maybe you're a future world changer right now, but expressing your brilliance and making a difference in the world, I have a podcast which I launched last summer. It's called The Holly C Show, Express Your Brilliance with Ease and Flow. And you can find it on iTunes. Just search for Holly C, Holly and TSE. And also on my website, I have all the episodes. So it's www.hollyc.com. So HOLLYTSE.com. And I'm also super excited because I just launched what I call Dragon Spirit group sessions. So I channel, it's like a whole other story. Like I'm listening to, everybody has a dragon spirit. It's your voice within that craves adventure and exploration. And I've help people through this group dragon spirit sessions to connect with their own dragon spirit, and then that helps them hear and follow their soul's calling.
Wonderful. Lots of resources for our viewers. Do you have a final thought for the viewers today before we say goodbye?
I do. So do this exercise. Whatever is closest to the center in the middle of the heart, do it. That's all I need to say. So don't think about it, just do it.
Thank you, Holly. That's terrific. Thank you so much for spending this session with us. And thank you to all of our viewers. We will see you again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us for the Energy Medicine and Healing Summit, brought to you by the Shift Network. You can add every teaching and transcript to your personal library by visiting energymedicinesummit.com/upgrade. To learn more about awakening to your full potential, and together co-creating a world that works for all, visit theshiftnetwork.com. Thank you again for joining us and for sharing this life-changing information with your friends and family.